It's Btcc, welcome back to round two. This is race two from the League 4 drivers around Red Bull Short. Obviously, this is a grid formed off of the previous race results. So we've got Callum lining up on pole. We've got Mikey in second place. Kenny D is in third. Aussie Rooster fourth. Declan is fifth. Derview sixth. Dan Bailey seventh. Kebabmans is eighth. Banksy ninth. Max 10th. Angry Man 11th. And Big Mac in 12th. So without further ado, should we get into it? Unfortunately, I did put a reminder, didn't I, to whoever hosted to possibly lengthen the end of race delay thing so I could get through the grid. But I know obviously Dan Bailey's standing in for host this week, so he may not have got the memo. Anyway, without further ado, we'll get into it, shall we? They're off. Race two is underway. Look like Dan Bailey getting a really good start in the background there. He's pulled over to the inside. Where is his teammate? Oh, so Nathan missing this evening. We got Nathan and Hoppers both missing. Callum moves through to first places of all sorts of shenanigans going on in the background there. Mikey and Kenny D having a bit of a battle behind. I think Kenny D's going to come off better out of that one. He's managed to move up to second place already. Mikey dropping to third. His teammate not far behind him. Aussie Rooster in fourth. Dan Bailey is up to fifth, so that's 2 places made up for Dan Bailey. He did get a cracking start, didn't he, off of that line. Derview is there in sixth place. Then we've got Declan, Kebabmans, Banksy, Angry Man, Big Mac, and Max. So it's looking like everybody, apart from Dan Bailey, going for the mediums in the second race. So maybe that's going to work out in Dan Bailey's favour. As it looks like he is getting a move done in the background now. We're going to have to go on board quickly. And he is. He's coming alongside Aussie Rooster, who is up ahead. Mikey as well, also with a penalty. Dan Bailey covering the inside. He's got that inside line. He's moved up to third place. Mikey almost losing the rear behind him then. He got a little bit twitchy on that rear. Him and his teammate both got penalties. Derview trying to have a look up the inside early though. I think he'd do well to wait until they serve them penalties, and he doesn't have to worry about trying to get the pass done. Declan not far behind. So we'll go back on board with these front runners. We've got Callum still in first place, followed by Kenny D. Kenny D putting him under pressure now. We saw how fast Kenny was in the last round. Kenny and Callum are having an absolute cracking battle for race 2 and 3. I think it was races 2 and 3, or was it 1 and 3? Can't quite remember, but it was phenomenal. Both picking up a penalty there. That is going to bring them into Dan Bailey's clutches, I'm sure. As Kenny is looking for a move up the inside now into turn 1. Callum's going to have to hold it on the outside line. Oh, and they're side by side through turn 1. No contact there. That was brilliant. Still side by side on the approach to turn 2. I think Kenny just edging slightly ahead. He is going to be ahead, isn't he? Callum going to have to slot into that slipstream. What tyres is Kenny on? So Kenny actually running the softs in this second race. So it isn't just Dan Bailey. Kenny is also running softs. And that's going to bring them into the clutches of Dan Bailey. See how quickly he manages to get onto the back of Callum. And he did. He closed right up, didn't he? So the top 3 all within a second of each other now. Or 1.5 seconds. He's got to be picking up that slipstream now, isn't he, as Dan Bailey? So Kenny D actually with a current fastest lap of 52.885. Dan Bailey's fastest lap currently is a 53.499. Oh no, looks like Callum up ahead. So Callum nearly getting that move done up the inside of Kenny D. Kenny D having a bit of a shaky line. Through turn 2, he started drifting out a bit wide, didn't he? Looking like Callum was going to be able to sling up the inside, but not quite that time round. And they have started pulling on Dan Bailey again. So even though he's on the medium, still very fast is Callum. Is Callum going to have a run this time round? Will he be able to go for a move up the inside into turn 1? No, not quite. Will it be turn 2? I don't think so. I don't think he's close enough this time round, is he? So they're all taking quite a wide line on the approach to turn 2. All seemingly getting it right though. So Kenny is doing a real good job at the moment of staying ahead of Callum, but Callum does look like he's still got pace in that car, even though he's on mediums. He's going to be trying to challenge Kenny up ahead on the superior tyre compound. And look at him go. Can anything slow Callum down? I'm not too sure. I think another penalty will, though, if he ends up with one. So Dan Bailey, not far off the back of it. No, Dan Bailey! As I say that, Dan Bailey's picked up a half a second penalty. That's unlucky, Dan. But he has got a nice gap over Aussie Rooster. I don't think Aussie Rooster is going to close that gap once Dan Bailey serves that penalty. Done well to get ahead of his teammate, though. Mikey now in 5th place. They've swapped positions. So Dan Bailey's about to serve his penalty. How close will Aussie Rooster get? Yeah, it didn't really slow Bailey down too much, so Aussie has still got to try and close that gap. He's got his teammate for company. He's pulling them along. These two could actually work together. They can use the bump draft to try and get onto the back of them top 4, or top 3 even. Banksy currently in 6th. Having a bit of a better outing than he did in the first race. Maybe just been a little bit unconfident on the mediums. Derview not far behind in 7th place. He's actually not had a spin tonight, so Derview having definitely a better round so far than last week. As I say, just not really finding his feet last week in the round at Alsace village. So Declan, that's Banks' teammate, currently in 8th. So W is finding himself in a Lamborghini sandwich currently. Big Mac, he's currently up to 9th place, so having a better race than that first one. Max is in 10th. We've got Angry Man a little way behind him now in 11th place. And Kebab Man's, what happened to Kebab Man's? Kebab Man's must have had a moment somewhere, because he is really on the back foot now, isn't he? He's quite a few corners behind. I think he's 2 or 3 corners behind 11th place. So Kenny D still the fastest lap at 52.667. He's managed to create a bit of breathing space to Callum now. He was still currently in 2nd place. I think these front two are going to be trying their hardest now not to pick up any more penalties, and Kenny actually takes the fastest lap again with a 52.601. Callum unable to match it at the moment. His fastest is a 52.8. Still absolutely blistering pace on the mediums. Only 200ths off of Kenny on the softs. Which just shows how much pace Callum has got in that car. Dan Bailey some way back now. He was looking like he may have been able to challenge the top 2, but he might have to just work on 3rd place. He might have to defend against Mikey and Aussie Rooster, who have swapped positions again. So Mikey managing to get back past Aussie Rooster. Aussie maybe having a bit of a shaky moment through one of the previous turns. Unless he picked up a small penalty and that's how he ended up behind. Not too sure. We didn't see it happen, so stay on board with these guys for just a second though, as they are 2 of the closer cars on track at the moment. Obviously I think the closest battle probably is between Kenny and Callum. Well, there is a bit of a gap there. You can see that on the track map in the top right. Actually looking like the tyre wear not too bad around Red Bull short. Aussie Rooster starting to slip out of that slipstream range. Banksy 6th place, so yeah, throughout the rest of the field becoming a bit of a procession again. Derview still there in 7th place between the 2 Lamborghini Huracan teammates of Declan and Banksy. Declan's still in 8th place. Big Mac Is he going to be able to make up any time before the end of the race? Oh, he's got a little bit of work to do, hasn't he? He's got his work out. So maybe having to... Oh, he's not going to do it like that, is he? Unfortunately, picking up a half a second penalty for track limits there. Big Mac. That isn't going to help his efforts. Hopefully that won't bring him into the clutches of Max. Although Max looking like he's quite comfortable in that BMW M4. My teammate last season? I think he was my teammate last season. He had a bit of a shaky season. Not really getting to grips with the car and ending up taking a hit and dropped a league, but I'm sure he'll be back up to League 3 before long. Angry Man 11th. Yeah, I think we're in the Genesis, me and Max. The Hyundai, however you want to call it, Genesis GR4. So Angry Man is Max's teammate. He's in 11th place at the moment. Kebab Man's still down in 12th. Being a reverse grid, he will be on pole for the third and final race. So Kenny D is still out at the front, starting lap 13. Comes through turn 1 for the 13th time. Managing to keep it nice and stable. He's managing that gap as well, keeping it consistent to Callum. And yeah, so the softs not really suffering with too bad tyre wear this time round. Not too many turns, to be fair, on this circuit, being Red Bull short. Callum actually, his previous lap, he stole a faster lap of a 52.4. So definitely still got pace on their mediums. Oh, Kenny's caught up with his teammate now. He's in traffic. Let's hope that back marker gets out of the way fairly rapidly. I mean, they could again try and work together, but Kebab Mans doesn't really want to slow Kenny down too much. And he has moved over. You want us to move straight back over again, Kebab Mans. Block off Callum. That's it, son. There you go. Leaving Callum with no way through. But in fact, no, he has. So Kebab, you can. Oh, Kebab Mans with some heavy, hardcore defence in there. That was very Perez-like. That reminds me of Abu Dhabi 2021. Or was it 22? I think it was 21, wasn't it? Definitely 21. So, Kebab Mans has earned the new title, Minister of Defence. He was a back marker. He probably was getting blue flagged, but he was doing all he could to keep Callum behind. He did manage to slow him down a little bit, didn't he? Let's hope the stewards don't deem that as blocking, obviously being a back marker. I think, to be fair, he was still well within his rights. I think he was just trying to hold the line, and Callum obviously a little bit more pacier. I think that's why it looked as bad as it did. But like Big Mac getting firmly out of the way though, he's trying to stay out of the way, isn't he? He's staying on that inside line. Yeah, he's going to let Callum through quite easily. Callum almost taking his nose out though, to be fair. I don't think Callum was stopping for anyone there. He's actually got half a second penalty, so I think first place slipping out of his grasp now. He's going to have to settle for 1 out of 1 so far, or 1 out of 3, sorry, so far. Second race will surely go to Kenny. That is an extra point there though for Callum with fastest lap. So Mikey managing to get past Dan Bailey now. He's up to third place, but Dan Bailey, he's not too far behind him, and Mikey has crucially got a penalty. Dan Bailey will surely get through, although Mikey's going to carry it for another lap. 14 minutes in now, we're into the final 1 minute. In fact, final 40 seconds. Aussie behind Dan has also got a penalty as Dan has a look up the inside. Don't think he really needs to try and get it done on turn 1. He is going to get that position anyway, but I think he's trying to make the most of it, try and maybe create a bit of a gap to Mikey once he serves that penalty, so Mikey can't come back and retake that position. We are going to have to go on board with a race leader soon, because I think they're going to be coming up to finish their final lap. I just want to see if Dan Bailey manages to get through. Oh, come on. Come on. No, somebody's off on turn 1. Somebody's off on turn 1. Damn. Oh, we missed it. So Kenny does finish in first place. Callum is going to take second. Dan Bailey has gone through, but he's got a penalty. No, Dan. Danny. That podium is slipping through his fingers. That's unlucky. Mikey will go through and take that third place. Dan Bailey finishes 4th. Aussie Rooster is 5th. Banksy 6th. Derview 7th. Declan 8th. Max is 9th. Angry Man 10th. Big Mac 11th. And Kebabmans will round up the field in 12th place. Oh, what a cracking race that was, guys. Again, kudos to League 4. No safety cars in race 1 or 2. So let's go on to the third race and the reverse grid and see if that throws up any shenanigans. And it does look like Dan has actually... Oh no, we've still got Max, who is still running. He is the final car to cross the finish line, and he'll finish in 9th place. And let's just see if... No, so it hasn't. Anyway, without further ado, that was race 2. We will get into race 3 shortly. I've been your boy Vexed, as always. Good night.